Hello and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Well, Uri terror attack continues to be our top focus. Well, in the crucial cabinet meet, India may discuss options on counter-offensive measures, even as US President Barack Obama says at the United Nations that nations engaged in proxy wars must end them. This is one big story that we'll keep tracking through the day. Let's take a look at the other top stories in the headlines. Cabinet Committee on Security meet today to discuss Uri attack. Army foils 2 infiltration bids along the line of control. 10 militants gunned down. 1 Jawan killed. Exiled Baloch leader Brahmdag Bukti formally seeks asylum in India. Says is confident of a positive response from New Delhi. US President Barack Obama asks nation engaged in proxy wars to end it at UN General Assembly meet. Pakistan Prime Minister slated to address the session today. And Karnataka Chief Minister calls cabinet in all-party meet to discuss future course of action after Supreme Court asks it to release 6,000 cusecs of Kaveri River water to Tamil Nadu. Well, the Cabinet Committee on Security will be meeting today to discuss the situation arising out of the Uri terror attack. Now, PTI is quoting sources as saying that the CCS will meet before the Union Cabinet meet today. Though Prime Minister Narendra Modi has discussed the terror attack with his top ministers, the CCS will formally discuss the issue. The CCS could also have other agenda besides the Uri strike. Now, sources in the government said that though such security-related issues are not discussed in the Union Cabinet, the issue of Uri attack could find a mention today. Now, top brass of the government is convinced that India has to launch a calibrated, multi-layered and strategic response and expose Pakistan in international forums like UN, whose General Assembly is in session at the moment. Well, as part of the plans, the Director General of Military Operations will hand over all the evidence linking Pakistan's involvement in the Uri attack to his Pakistani counterpart shortly. Pakistan has been demanding actionable proof of its involvement in the attack. And earlier on Tuesday, high-level meetings and deliberations in the corridors of power continued. Home Minister Rajnath Singh once again reviewed the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir with the top officials. Home Secretary Rajiv Merishi has also rushed to the valley to take stock of the ground situation there. But even as India is mulling over options on how to corner Pakistan over the Uri attack, the Pakistani troops violated the ceasefire once again along the line of control. 2 infiltration bids were also made by the militants in Uri. Now, Indian forces, however, foiled the attempts and gunned down at least 10 militants. However, 1 Jawan was also killed in the encounter.
Barely 2 days after the massive terror strike in Uri, Pakistani troops violated the ceasefire in the same sector of Kashmir, firing at Indian Army posts with small firearms. The firing happened for a brief while around midday. Meanwhile, the National Investigation Agency has registered a case to probe the Uri terror attack, taking over the investigation from the Jammu and Kashmir police. Apart from crucial evidence like the arms and ammunition recovered from the terrorists, the NIA team will also collect the DNA samples of the 4 terrorists suspected to belong to the Jaish-e-Mohammed. The agency is also expected to prepare a dossier and may make a formal request to Pakistan once the identity of the terrorists is ascertained. In Delhi, Home Minister Rajnath Singh once again reviewed the security situation in Kashmir with top officials, including National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar. Union Home Secretary Rajiv Merishi flew to Srinagar to assess the ground situation in the valley. He met Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti before reviewing the security situation with top officials from various security forces, police and intelligence agencies. As the government mulls options to isolate Pakistan over terror, pressure from the opposition parties continues to mount.
Already excuses are being trotted out, stories are being planted that commanders are advising against rash action. Whoever wants the government to take rash action, but the country wants the government to take action.
Brave soldiers are dying on a daily basis, and the Prime Minister who made these promises to act against Pakistan, we have had in quick succession. The death of our brave soldiers in Pathankot and then in Uri. And today he wants the nation to forget these lapses.
एक साल भी नहीं हुआ है पठानकोट के हमले को, वहाँ भी 7 जवान शहीद हो गए। उसके बाद भी यही बैठक चर्चा का दौर चलता रहा। जवाबी कार्रवाई की बात भी हो गई। उस वक्त भी हमने ये कहा था कि हम तय करेंगे जवाबी कार्रवाई कब करना है, वो तारीख, वो दिन हम तय करेंगे, लेकिन अब तो कोई तारीख का इंतजार है।
International condemnation for the Uri attack also continues. After the US, UK and Russia, Germany and Japan also extended support to India in its fight against terrorism.
Strongly condemn the terrorist attack on the Indian army base in Uri in the Jammu and Kashmir region. Our thoughts are with the families of the murdered soldiers and with the many people who have been injured, some seriously. Germany stands resolutely at India's side in the fight against terrorism. At the Indo-German counter-terrorism consultations, which will take place in a few days' time, we will further discuss the threats to our two countries' societies.
India is set to raise the deadly Uri attack at the 71st United Nations General Assembly, strongly emphasizing Pakistan's role in acts of terror in India. With inputs from Akhilesh Suman, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, amid heightened tensions between India and Pakistan, a Western Army commander, Lieutenant General, visited the border areas of Jammu region on Tuesday. He asked troops to ensure high degree of alertness and operational preparedness. Now, during the visit, he took stock of the security apparatus in the sensitive areas and complimented the forces in successfully maintaining a high state of vigil. The Army commander reviewed the deployment in the entire region and appreciated efforts being made by all the security agencies to enhance the level of preparedness. General Singh, who took over as the General Officer Commanding-in-Chief of the Western Command only 3 days back, emphasized on the need for ensuring high degrees of alertness and operational preparedness. He also stressed upon the need to coordinate the intelligence network for all the agencies in the region so that prompt actions can be undertaken to defeat the nefarious designs of adversaries. And amidst the ongoing hostility over terror attack in Uri, now Pakistan has decided not to send its intelligence chief to India to attend the conference of top security experts of SAARC countries beginning on Thursday. Now, Director General of Intelligence Bureau of Pakistan, Aftab Sultan, will not attend the SAARC meeting. Pakistan will be represented by an official of the Pakistani High Commission. Now, the 2-day conference of the high-level group of eminent experts from South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation or SAARC countries will be held in the national capital, according to a statement issued by the Home Ministry. The second meeting of the high-level group of eminent experts from SAARC nations will be held on 22nd and 23rd of September. The aim of the meeting is to strengthen SAARC anti-terror mechanism. The first such meeting was held in New Delhi in February 2012. A normal life in the violence-hit Kashmir Valley remained paralyzed for the 74th consecutive day on Tuesday due to restrictions and separatist-sponsored strike. No curfew remained in force in 5 police station areas of Srinagar, while restrictions have been lifted from elsewhere in the valley. The restrictions on the assembly of people under Section 144 of the CRPC continues to remain in force. Now, post-paid mobile telephony services were restored, while the outgoing calls on prepaid numbers continue to remain snapped. The separatists have meanwhile extended the protest program till 22nd of September. They have not announced any period of relaxation in the strike for the week at the moment. And in some other news, well-exiled Baloch leader Brahmdag Bukti, heading the movement in Balochistan on Monday, approached the Indian embassy in Geneva seeking an asylum in India and exuded confidence of a positive response from New Delhi. Now, Bukti said that he had talks with the top Indian diplomats about his asylum, as well as that of a number of other Baloch leaders currently staying in Balochistan, Afghanistan and in some other countries. Now, the news comes at a time when Pakistan is being cornered by India for its involvement in terrorist attacks, including terrorist strikes in Uri. Meanwhile, the party has decided to file a case against China at the International Court of Justice, and to do it, the party will approach India, Afghanistan and Bangladesh for help. The Baloch leader said that his party has also decided to approach the ICJ against Pakistani army generals as well.
हमने मुलाकात की और हमारा बहुत ही फ्रूटफुल डिस्कशन हुआ और जो हमने पॉलिटिकल असाइलम और दूसरे जो चीज़ें हैं वो सब डिस्कस की, तो आई होप कि अच्छा ही होगा, पॉजिटिव ही होगा.
And the issue of terrorism was keenly discussed as the debate of the 71st session of the United Nations General Assembly started on Tuesday. The leaders of over 30 member states addressed the plenum. Now, at the session, US President Barack Obama asked the nations engaged in proxy wars to end them. His remarks are coming a day after his Secretary of State John Kerry asked Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif to prevent terrorists from using his country's territory as safe havens. Meanwhile, Nawaz Sharif is also due to address UN General Assembly today, where he is slated to raise the Kashmir issue. As the general debate of the 71st session of its General Assembly at UN headquarters kicked off in New York on Tuesday, the issue of terrorism took center stage. Barack Obama, in his final address to the UN General Assembly as the US President, asked nations engaged in proxy wars to end them. He said no external power is going to be able to force different religious communities or ethnic communities to coexist for long. Until basic questions are answered about how communities coexist, the embers of extremism will continue to burn. Adding that across the region's conflicts, we have to insist that all parties recognize a common humanity and the nations end proxy wars that fuel disorders.
Mentality that allows for violence with impunity is something we cannot excuse. It's not the subject of this summit, but we all know that what is happening in Syria, for example, is unacceptable. And we are not as unified as we should be in pushing to make it stop.
Earlier, Minister of State for External Affairs M.J. Akbar also touched upon terrorism in his speech on migrants and refugees. He insisted that terrorism was the main cause of refugee movement, saying it is important to stress that today the geopolitics of the crisis points proves that terrorism is the principal cause of refugee movement. Can we ignore this fact? We cannot. We do so at our peril. Outgoing UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon also brought up the issue of terrorism. In his address at his last meeting of the UNGA in the post, before leaving office, Moon took up issue of unrest in Syria, blaming its government and its allies of having blood on their hands. The UN Secretary-General also refrained from taking up Pakistan's repeated requests to intervene in Jammu and Kashmir. There was no mention of India, Pakistan or Jammu and Kashmir in his address.
I appeal to all those with influence to end the fighting and get talks started. A political transition is long overdue. After so much violence and misrule, the future of Syria should not rest on the fate of a single man.
Another early diplomatic success by India at the UN was the acceptance of the India-sponsored Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism by the group's group in the UN. Meanwhile, Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is expected to make an impassioned speech against India at the gathering today. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj will lead India's diplomatic offensive against Pakistan at the UNGA next week in the wake of the Uri terror attack. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And a big blow to Pakistan. Well, two powerful American lawmakers have introduced a bill in the US House of Representatives to designate Pakistan a state sponsor of terrorism. Now, the bill says it was time the US stopped paying the country for its betrayal. The Pakistan State Sponsor of Terrorism Designation Act has been moved by Republican Ted Poe and Democrat Dana Rao Bakar, who is a ranking member of the influential Congressional Committee on Terrorism. Now, the two leaders have said that not only is Pakistan an untrustworthy ally, Islamabad also aided and abetted enemies of the US for years. They have said that Pakistan has harbored Osama bin Laden and has a cozy relationship with Haqqani network. The bill says that there is more than enough evidence to determine whose side Pakistan is on in the war on terror. On to some other news. Well, overruling Karnataka's objections and giving relief to farmers in Tamil Nadu, the Supreme Court on Tuesday ordered the former to release 6,000 cusecs of Kaveri River water to Tamil Nadu till 27th of September. Now, Karnataka has termed the ruling as unfortunate and unjust. Now, Karnataka State Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has called for a state cabinet and an all-party meet today in the capital Bangalore to chalk out the future course of action on the issue.
A day after the Kaveri Supervisory Committee ordered Karnataka to release 3,000 cusecs of the Kaveri river water to Tamil Nadu, the quantum has been doubled by the Supreme Court. The Apex Court has directed Karnataka to release 6,000 cusecs of water to Tamil Nadu on a daily basis starting Wednesday till September 27th. It has also asked the centre to constitute a Kaveri Water Management Board within 4 weeks.
Today, Supreme Court noting very seriously that the Union government has not taken any steps for the constitution of the Kaveri Water Management Board, had directed the Union government of India to constitute the Kaveri Water Management Board within a period of 4 weeks from today, from the date of the order. Till the next date of hearing, that is 27th of September, the government of Karnataka has to release 6,000 cusecs of water. These are the orders of the Supreme Court today, and it is a very positive development regarding the sharing of issues, sharing of river water between the states of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, and we welcome the order of the Supreme Court.
Demand is justified and the Supreme Court has endorsed it. So we stand vindicated that we did not fight for anything extra. What is naturally due to us, now accepted by the Supreme Court.
In order to ease out the tense atmosphere in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, the Apex Court has given 3 days to both states to file their objections with the Kaveri Supervisory Committee. Karnataka, however, feels injustice has been done by the authorities, saying it is completely opposed to the order.
Despite all this, the Supreme Court has passed an order since we do not have water. It is very difficult to implement, and after taking the views and opinion of the leaders from all parties, and we will proceed with.
On Monday, the Kaveri Supervisory Committee had directed the Karnataka government to release 3,000 cusecs of water to Tamil Nadu for 10 days. The committee had also decided to meet once every month starting February 2017 till the Kaveri Management Board is formed. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to some other news, and the Supreme Court dismissed a PIL filed by National Lawyers Campaign for Judicial Transparency and Reforms, which sought a new mechanism for the appointment of judges in High Courts and the Supreme Court. The Apex Court quashed the plea, stating that it cannot make constitutional changes, and the current government is already preparing a memorandum of procedure on the same. The National Lawyers Campaign also alleged that the talented candidates among the vast majority of lawyers are never considered by the collegium for selection as judges. News at 10. We'll take a very short break here. We'll be back with more news. Stay with us.
Harappan sites are a treasure trove of sophisticated pottery. These creations show tremendous advances by the potter's weave. Creations like the perforated jar, the copper axe, the chisel and knives astound even present-day archaeologists. Figurines depicting yoga poses, chess pieces display a complexity unsurpassed even by later-day civilizations, all of which make the Harappan civilization truly unique.
Welcome back after the break. Now, the third list of smart cities was announced yesterday by the Union Urban Development Ministry. Now, 27 cities from 12 states have been included in the list after being shortlisted from a total of 63 entries. Here are all the details.
Urban Development Minister Venkaiah Naidu announced a list of 27 new cities to be developed as smart cities on Tuesday. The new list accommodates 27 cities from 12 states, including 5 cities from Maharashtra, 4 from Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, 3 from Uttar Pradesh, 2 each from Punjab, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and 1 each from Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Gujarat, Nagaland and Sikkim. Varanasi, Kanpur, Agra, Nagpur, Tirupati, Amritsar and Kohima have been included in the latest list of smart cities.
In the next 1 year, one would get to see smart cities taking shape. My ministry is hand-holding states and urban local bodies at every stage of implementation of Smart City Mission, and the results are there for all of you to see.
Smart cities will have facilities such as a short water and power supply, sanitation and solid waste management systems, improved transportation, IT connectivity and e-governance. Under the mission, each city will receive central assistance of Rs 200 crore in the first year and Rs 100 crore over the 3 subsequent financial years. The government aims to have 100 smart cities by 2022, out of which 60 have been chosen so far. For these 27 cities, the proposed investment will be 66,883 crore rupees. The selection process of the remaining 40 cities will commence in January 2017. Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's move on in the bulletin now. Well, the Union Cabinet will meet today to consider a proposal to advance the presentation of the general budget and the merger of a railway budget with it. And the proposal is to break away from the tradition and present the general budget on 1st of February instead of the last day of the month and scrap the practice of a separate railway budget. Now, the Cabinet meet will be chaired by the Prime Minister, who has been pushing for the move. The Cabinet will also consider the proposal for doing away with the distinction between planned and non-planned expenditure. Now, according to the proposal, the entire budget-making exercise will be advanced by 3 to 4 weeks so as to complete the legislative part of the financial business before 1st of April, the start of the financial year. Now, PTI is quoting sources as saying that the government plans to convene the budget session of Parliament before 25th of January 2017, that is the next year, present the pre-budget economic survey a day or two before the finance minister reads out the budget on 1st of February. Now, towards that end, the advanced estimates for GDP will now be made on 7th of January instead of 7th of February, and the mid-year review of the expenditure by various ministries is proposed to be completed by 15th of November. Now, the idea, sources said, is to get the budget passed by Parliament along with the appropriation bill and the finance bill before 24th of March. This would ensure implementation of the budget proposals from 1st of April. News from Uttar Pradesh now, where Samajwadi Party chief Mulayam Singh Yadav on Tuesday appointed Amar Singh as the party's National General Secretary almost 6 years after he was removed from the same post as well as from the party. Well, the appointment was given in a brief letter signed by the SP chief on his Lok Sabha letterhead. It was sent to the media from State SP Chief Shivpal Yadav's official mail address. Now, the latest development comes days after Mulayam Singh Yadav prevailed in a dispute between his son Akhilesh Yadav and brother Shivpal Yadav. Amar Singh, along with his close associate Jayaprada, were expelled, remember, from the Samajwadi Party in February 2010. Subsequently, Singh had floated his own political party, the Rashtriya Lok Manch, in 2011. He fielded a large number of candidates in 2012 assembly polls, but none won. Now, look at the events that are slated for the day in the day ahead. The cricket governing body BCCI will hold its 87th annual general meeting in Mumbai today, with one of the items on the agenda being the election of its honorary secretary. Among other items is the appointment of the working and standing committee under the BCCI's existing rules, in contrast to the Lodha panel's reforms which had been approved by the Supreme Court's subsequent ruling. On the 14th day of the ongoing Kisan Yatra from Deoria to Delhi, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi will hold a roadshow in Kanpur today. The Khat Sabha will also be organized before the roadshow at Ghatampur, which is 60 kilometers away from Kanpur. Rahul Gandhi will spend the night at Kanpur's Circuit House and will leave for Unnao on Thursday. Union Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will inaugurate the 3-day Incredible India Tourism Investors Summit 2016 at Vigyan Bhavan in the national capital. It is an initiative of the Ministry of Tourism in association with the Tourism Finance Corporation of India and Confederation of Indian Industry. Dr. Mahesh Sharma, the Minister of State for Tourism and Culture, will deliver the theme address. Chandrababu Naidu, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, will also address the event. Let's get you some international news. Well, US has blamed Russia for Monday's airstrike on an aid convoy near Aleppo in Syria, which resulted in a shattering of a week-long truce in the war-torn region. Now, calling the airstrike an enormous humanitarian tragedy, the White House on Tuesday said that the United States prefers to continue with a ceasefire in Syria, but continues to remain concerned by Russia's failure to show good faith. Russia, meanwhile, has strongly denied any involvement and has said that the US government had no facts to support its claim. 20 civilians were killed after an aid convoy was hit on Monday night in the West Aleppo, prompting the United Nations to halt its aid operations in the country.
All of our information indicates clearly that this was an airstrike. That means there only could have been two entities responsible, either the Syrian regime or the Russian government. In any event, we hold the Russian government responsible for airstrikes in this space, given that their commitment under the cessation of hostilities was to certainly ground air operations in places where humanitarian assistance is flowing.
Let's get you some more international news in World Wrap. US authorities have charged a New York bombing suspect Ahmed Khan Rahami with the use of weapon of mass destruction in weekend attacks in Manhattan and New Jersey. The charges also include bombing, destruction of property and use of a destructive device. A pressure cooker bomb that went off in Manhattan on Saturday injured 29 people. Another bomb that exploded in the New Jersey shore did not hurt anyone, but forced the cancellation of a Marine Corps charity race. The Greek government is to send a ship to provide accommodation for more than 1,000 migrants. This after a fire destroyed large area of migrants' camp on the island of Lesbos. Up to 5,000 people fled the blaze at Moria camp, where migrants and refugees have long complained of overcrowding. Greek shipping minister said that the families would be given a priority on the ship, and if necessary, a second ship would also be sent. British Prime Minister Theresa May has dismissed threats by some EU countries to veto Brexit negotiations with the UK. May stressed that all 27 member states will sign up a deal with Britain. Her comments came after Slovakian Prime Minister said that 4 Central European countries, Slovakia, Poland, the Czech Republic and Hungary, were willing to block talks unless their citizens retain their rights to work in the UK after the country voted to leave the European Union. Well, that's all in this edition of news. Thanks so much for your time.